Daniel Sports Central, we go over a college football game preview and prediction on the Week 1 matchup between North Carolina and South Carolina. Huge matchup for both teams coming up here in Week 1. You got two teams here that could very well be dark horses in their respective conferences. North Carolina is in a wide-open ACC conference. Would not be surprised one bit if they went ahead and won the conference this season. But it starts in Week 1, and they don't have an easy matchup in Week 1 taking on South Carolina. South Carolina is a team that really put things together at the end of last season. They've got some really strong momentum heading into 2023, so definitely a huge matchup and a huge opportunity for both teams to kick off this season. We'll be over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here heading into 2023, so definitely a huge matchup and a huge opportunity for both teams to kick off this season. We'll be over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today. Let's get started. This matchup being on the Saturday of Week 1, and this is probably the biggest matchup of the Saturday. Kickoff is 7:30 p.m. Eastern in Charlotte, neutral location for this one. Spread's going South Carolina by 2.5, so Gamecocks are favored according to the spread, but the FPI does disagree with that, going with the Tar Heels 62%, over under 63.5. So higher scoring game could be expected here. Wouldn't be surprised with the strong offense of North Carolina, and really South Carolina should have a strong offense as well. We saw them really have success at the end of last season. Series history, North Carolina leads at 35-20, so both teams have had a extensive history, that's for sure. Last game being in a bowl game back in 2021 where South Carolina won it 38-21, so took care of North Carolina in that one, but obviously things are different as we look forward to 2023. Stat comparison, North Carolina 27th in points per game last season, 104th in points allowed, so a strong offense last season. Defensively, they did allow quite a few points. 104th is definitely not great there, but I mean, this team is known for the strong passing game. When you got Drake May in there, who is very impressive, a very solid, consistent quarterback, you can expect this team to be very strong offensively. And it was kind of the same case with Sam Howell, which I still feel like Sam Howell really didn't reach his full potential with the Tar Heels, but Drake May has got a chance at that, and he's definitely in a similar situation. I mean, North Carolina, this isn't the first time in recent memory that we've seen this team have high expectations heading into a season. Rush yards a game, 73rd. Pass defense, 111th last season, and 92nd in rush defense. That's for South Carolina. They were 40th in points per game. Strong offensively last year, especially in the passing game, where they were 33rd, 102nd in rush yards a game. Defensively, pretty good against the pass, which is what you're going to need in this matchup, going up against Drake May in this strong North Carolina offense. And rush defense, 117th last season. And obviously, though, it's a totally different season. I mean, both teams are different, so statistically it's going to be different this year, but this is what we can look back on from 2022. Your key points for this one, North Carolina 9-5 last year. Drake May leads a strong and a quick offense here. I mean, you look at the receiving core, bringing in Devontae Walker, Nate McCollum. I mean, both guys are expected to be starters. Drake May, obviously the standout quarterback, who's a huge name right now. I mean, this offense is going to be incredible in 2023, I can imagine. Defensively, they should be better. That's a big reason why this team is expected to be so good in 2023, is because of that. And I mean, the ACC is as wide open as it is right now. I mean, Clemson's probably been the most notable team in the past decade at this point. But, I mean, Clemson has been a bit down the past couple of seasons. I do expect them to be right back up there this season. But this year, you got Clemson, you got North Carolina. Both teams should be great. And also Florida State, who is totally on the rise right now. That's going to be a really solid team in 2023. And so, I mean, all the talk in the ACC right now is about Clemson and Florida State. That's really about it. But North Carolina is not far behind. This is a really solid team that I think should be getting a bit more noise. I wouldn't be surprised if this team won the ACC this season. They're that solid of a team, and the potential's there. This team has got a high ceiling and a lot of upside. Looking forward to this season, and it's just a matter of getting it done in the most important games and being as consistent as possible. And for all we know, I mean, we've seen so many surprise teams over the years. North Carolina could be that team that makes a run, maybe gets to the college football playoff in 2023, would not be surprised. South Carolina, I mean, this team caught fire down the stretch. I mean, looked like they were down and out for even making a bowl game. Then this team beats Tennessee, one of the best teams in the SEC last season, and blew them out for that matter, and then beats Clemson on the road. Just wild what this team did in those last two games. Took on Notre Dame in their bowl game, kept it close, couldn't quite beat the Irish, but I mean, still, what a way to finish out the season for South Carolina. This is a team with a lot of momentum, looking forward to 2023. Though I will say this, South Carolina is a much different team this season. I mean, offensively, they're both sides of the ball, they're a lot different. Spencer Rattler is coming back, but this isn't quite the same team. And I do think Spencer Rattler, we saw his potential. I mean, we knew heading into the season that he was a great quarterback. He just hadn't really reached that level in his last year with Oklahoma, and even the first half of the season with the Gamecocks. And we saw that at the end of last season, he can be there. So if he can reach that level for the entirety of this season, South Carolina could be a surprise contender. It's just a matter of whether or not the talent around him can be at that level as well. And I think definitely they can be, but obviously the SEC is no joke. That is a brutal conference, and it's tough to be a contender in the SEC when you're going up against top-tier opponents week after week. So, but either way, huge matchup for both teams, huge opportunity. I mean, for South Carolina, could get a very significant week one win here, and this would put them on the map, but definitely heading into the season and looking forward to September. But with that, let's get into the prediction now for North Carolina, South Carolina. Huge matchup for week one, and this one, I got to go with North Carolina. 38-31 is my predicted final score. So, this technically is an upset. I mean, it's tough to really consider it one. I mean, South Carolina is favored on the spread, but I just think North Carolina is, I mean, they are stacked this season. That's going to be a really solid team that I think some are maybe underestimating a bit. North Carolina is ranked 21st in the AP poll. I think they should be a bit higher. I do like the Tar Heels a lot. I think they get it done, and a higher scoring matchup here as well. 38-31 is what I'm predicting here. 55% towards Tar Heels. I'm definitely taking the over. I see this game being a higher scoring one for sure, probably close as well. And really, I mean, South Carolina, if they can have that same fire that they had at the end of last season, I wouldn't be surprised one bit if they won this game. But there are a lot of significant changes as well for the Gamecocks, and I do think this team is a bit rusty in the first week, especially defensively. But in the end, I've got North Carolina covering. They win this matchup, and definitely a good matchup for sure. This one should go back and forth. But with that, let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this matchup. Appreciate you guys all watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Catch you on the next one.